for the RoD Dynasty podcast. Let's go!
It's a marvelous night for a moon dance, a fantabulous night to make romance beneath the cover of, I guess, February's skies. Welcome to the RoD Dynasty podcast. I don't know, guys. Maybe it's the fact that Valentine's Day is tomorrow, or maybe it's the glass of Woodford Reserve that I'm drinking, but I'm in the mood to fall in love with some running backs. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, let's keep going.
All right. Well, joining me as usual is the Devi Dirtbag himself, Ryan Bickerstaff. How are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great. I finished all my homework for the week, so I have this weekend off completely, which is nice. And we're going to talk about my second favorite position group.
That's awesome. And also with us on this romantic evening is Eric Braun. Eric, are you ready to RB my Valentine?
With jokes like that, how could I ever turn you down?
That's what I expect to hear. Now, we were expecting a guest tonight who unfortunately could not make it. But before we jump into our rankings, I want to start with a question about 2019 rookie running backs for my fellow hosts tonight. Which 2019 rookie running back do you guys expect to make the biggest leap in year two? Eric?
I think people are writing off David Montgomery a little bit too much. He got a fair amount of touches from Chicago last season. The yards per carry wasn't great, but we've seen a lot of running backs before who have struggled with yards per carry from season to season, and then kind of recovered over their careers, and Melvin Gordon was kind of like that. I think the fact that they showed confidence in him throughout the season is encouraging. I don't love him, but I think he's under.
All right. Ryan?
I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. I know he came out in year one and rushed for 1,100 yards and was in the top 10 rushing in the league, but he wasn't used to his full potential in that offense. And I think in year two, he also had that lingering shoulder injury throughout the year that might have hampered him a little bit. I think in year two, we're going to see Josh Jacobs get more, mixed into the passing game, and he'll get more carries. And if he can stay healthy, we're looking at a guy that can put up 1,700 total yards.
So he's going to make the leap from the best 2019 rookie to the best 2019 rookie. Way to go on a ledge there, Ryan.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
You're not wrong,
he's not wrong. Are there any 2019 rookies that you're pulling the plug on who you saw in the NFL and you're like, yep, not going to work? Nope.
No, not yet.
Okay, so Ryan, you say not yet. Eric?
If there's one guy for me, it's probably Damian Harris. We haven't really seen him in the NFL yet, but to that point, that's a concern. And I also think his draft stock was boosted a little bit by, okay, it's the Patriots offense. Sure, they're unreliable with their running backs, but they're always a good offense. And I'm not really so confident they're going to be a good offense moving forward. So Damian Harris does not have much value to me at this point.
What do you guys think about Darrell Henderson? Any hope for him to do anything in the NFL?
I look at Ronald Jones as a rookie and how he did nothing. But he came out in year two and he went for over 1,000 yards from scrimmage and showed that he can play at the NFL level. I don't think Darrell Henderson's necessarily going to do that same thing, but I think he's going to get thrown into the offense a little bit more in year two, and that he is going to make some plays. He is an explosive athlete, and it's hard to believe that he doesn't have some success in the NFL at least.
Fair enough. All right, well, now to our main segment, our top 10 rookie running backs. Now, the crew over here at the RoD Dynasty compiled our individual rankings. We put them together into some consensus rankings. Then Ryan broke them down into tiers based on his research. Now, our tier one are considered day one starters. We have a consensus number one, DeAndre Swift. Ryan, you're really high on DeAndre. Tell me why he's number one.
DeAndre Swift's number one because he has no weaknesses to his game at all. He's an all-around good running back. He's fast, explosive. He's a good receiver, can pass protect. He doesn't fumble very often. He has a real three-down skill set, a knack for making the first defender miss. He also has that extra gear to just leave defenders in his dust on long runs. Plus, he played against SEC competition. He has a 5-star pedigree with NFL size. He's 5'9", 215. He's gotten better each year, and he still has plenty of room to grow. He has relatively fresh legs, too, as he split most of his carries in college. Only 440 carries over the last 3 years. So, we're getting a guy with all of the tools that you need to be a successful NFL running back with very little wear and tear, and the sky's the limit.
All right, Eric?
Yeah, I think that's a great point about DeAndre Swift. Not really having many weaknesses. He really is a very good all-around player. He's got good speed, good burst. He's strong. He can catch out of the backfield. He can run routes. Good vision. He's elusive. I mean, you can go on and on. My issue with him is more that I don't see the elite traits. I saw somebody the other day mention he has Alvin Kamara-like receiving ability, and I just don't get where that comment comes from. He's a solid receiver. He's a solid runner. He's elusive, but not Saquon Barkley elusive. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's a very good prospect. But when I look at how DeAndre Swift stacks up to some of the running back classes we've seen over the past couple of years, I don't see him as the same caliber of RB1 that we have seen with Saquon Barkley and with Christian McCaffrey and even Josh Jacobs. I'm not sure he's quite on that level.
Interesting. Now, Eric, you have one of our running backs who is tied for number 2, also in tier 1, Jonathan Taylor as your number 1.
Yeah, I am a big Jonathan Taylor fan. He's a workhorse back. He's, like Swift, extremely strong runner, always falling forward. He's not quite the receiver that Swift is, but he does have solid hands. He can catch out of the backfield. He's definitely not going to be an Alvin Kamara-esque, Christian McCaffrey-esque player, but he's okay in the receiving game. He has a great size speed combo. He's going to test extremely well at the combine. And the biggest thing for me is simply he has insane college production. As a freshman, Jonathan Taylor had 1,900 yards. As a sophomore, 2,100. As a junior, 2,000. The production's just off the charts for him, and I know people will talk about the wear and tear, but I don't buy it. I think age is a concern with running backs wearing down, not carries. And I love that Wisconsin just handed him the ball time after time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on Jonathan Taylor. I have Jonathan also as number 1 overall for myself. I don't feel DeAndre Swift has shown himself as a pass blocker. I mean, he looks kind of willing, but I don't know. I don't know if he's showing the skill that's necessary to be in on third downs when he's called on to block in the NFL as of yet. It's something I think he's going to need to add to his game. I have to agree with Eric. I like the production of Taylor. He was an absolute stud in college. They gave him the ball. Everybody knew he was getting the ball, and he still put up a ridiculous yards per carry. Now, the guy we haven't spoken about, J.K. Dobbins. What are we thinking about him, Ryan?
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins is number 2 in my rankings, personally. After an air quotes down year as a sophomore, he exploded for over 2,000 yards on the ground. I think he finished with 2,003, which tied Jonathan Taylor in 2019. He also added about 250 yards through the air, too. He's a consistently solid receiver. He has 71 career receptions, good size, 5'10", 220. He has speed, if I had to guess, around 4.5. He's shifty, elusive. He hits the hole decisively with great burst. He has a knack for breaking big runs, which is my favorite trait about him. He's always, a 20-yard, 25-yard carry is always a possibility when Dobbins touches the ball. He has a great stiff arm, shakes defenders with ease, and he played his best against the best teams, too. Especially in 2019. Huge games against Wisconsin twice, showed out against Michigan and Clemson. So J.K. Dobbins comes in at number 2 for me.
All right, now I know he went to your rival university, Eric. What do you feel about J.K.?
Yeah, aside from the massive blemish on his resume that is the Ohio State jersey he wore, I have to say he's a really good prospect. Like Ryan said, he's a great athlete, good speed, good vision. He can catch at the backfield. One of the things I notice about him is he doesn't make a ton of one-on-one make-you-miss moves, and he doesn't break a ton of tackles, but he has that burst that he gets around the corner, he gets into open field, and his angles in the open field are awesome. He just is really great in space. To me, he reminds me a little bit of a discount Dalvin Cook. Cook was he would get in space in college, and defenders would just lose angles on him. And I see a little bit of that same thing with J.K. Dobbins.
So I guess my question, now that we say that these guys are definite top 3, I know at least consensus-wise, where do we rank them overall? So if we're looking at Dynasty rankings, so would you trade the 1-1 for Aaron Jones? Straight up?
No.
You wouldn't. All right, so we're definitely going Aaron Jones.
I would go the other way. I would prefer the 1-1 to Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I'd rather have the 1-1.
Oh, okay. So you're both saying you would take the 1-1 over Aaron Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now he's ranked 12th according to DLF in Dynasty running back rankings. Would you take the 1-1 over Josh Jacobs?
No. I have Josh Jacobs at number 8 in my Dynasty rankings, and I have Swift slotted in at number 9 right behind him.
What about Leonard Fournette?
He's 10th for me.
Take Fournette.
Derrick Henry?
I think I take the pick.
Yeah. The pick.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. So, these are like 8 through 12. After Aaron Jones, I would take the pick over Gordon, over Gurley, over Eckler, over Mack, over Carrion. Any of those guys you disagree with me?
I think, that's definitely that Jacobs, Fournette, Henry, Jones range. I mean, you can nitpick which one goes where, but I think that's definitely the range where you should see this pick slotting in.
Now, what about 1-2 and 1-3?
Not much of a drop-off, I think. Between Swift, Dobbins, and Taylor, and we haven't gotten to the receivers yet, but there's some really great receivers. The quarterbacks, if you're in a super flex, there's a ton of talent there. I think this draft doesn't have... It might not have the elite number 1 pick like some of the past drafts have had, but I think the depth of the top 5 to 7 picks, depending on your league format, is really strong.
Okay, that sounds pretty fair. Ryan, are you in agreement?
Yeah, I have to agree with him there. The top 5 picks, 7 picks in the super flex, they're all studs, and you can't go wrong with any of them.
All right, well, coming in at number 4 in our rankings is CEH out of LSU. Now, this is the first part. Number 4 is in our tier 2, which, Ryan, you titled Eventual Starter. So I know this is your boy, so tell me why I should like him more than Jonathan Taylor.
It's it's Edwards-Hilaire's ability as a true dual threat running back that has me so high on him. But the NFL lead back potential also doesn't hurt. From what I've read, the NFL community is high on him, so he could get some serious draft capital here. But the fantasy community is starting to catch on. He's a low mileage prospect with great production in 2019. He had 1,414 rushing yards at 6.6 yards per carry, 55 receptions for 453 yards. This is in the SEC, mind you. And he elevated his game against the toughest teams: Florida, Auburn, Alabama, Clemson. And I see a nice combination between Maurice Jones-Drew and Brian Westbrook when I watch CEH play. Excuse me. I think he'll be a 70-plus reception type of running back in the NFL. He has ridiculous agility. He's a slippery runner. His low center of gravity makes him incredibly difficult to tackle. And he runs angry, too, which I love, watching running backs that run angry. I remember one play against Alabama where he just pushed and pulled a pile of Alabama defenders, and he would not be denied that first down. It was pretty spectacular to watch, actually. And, so Clyde Edwards-Hilaire comes in at number 3 for me, and with a good combine, he could go as high as number 2.
Yeah, I don't think that's that crazy. Like you said, with the combine, all of these things are super subject to change, but on tape, he's awesome. I think my biggest concerns would be just that offense in general. I mean, he had what I believe is a future franchise quarterback having one of the best seasons of all time at quarterback for him, and he had some great wide receivers on the outside. There just wasn't a ton of attention paid to Edwards-Hilaire in comparison. But to your point, he makes a lot of guys miss. I think he looked really good. He can catch out of the backfield well. I think this is kind of the common comparison, and some of it's probably just the size. He reminds me a lot of Maurice Jones-Drew, and I love that. He's just somebody I want to draft. I want to run on my team.
Fair enough. Coming in as a tie for 5th place, everybody's least favorite, Cam Akers and Zach Moss. So, pick one, Ryan. Who do you want to tell me about?
I prefer to talk about Zach Moss, just because I don't have a whole lot to say about Cam Akers. Moss is a really good player. He had over 4,700 yards from scrimmage in his career, 3 consecutive years of 1,000 rushing yards. He's 2019's Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year. He had 8 games of over 100 rushing yards. He's a creative, punishing runner with prototypical NFL size. He keeps his legs moving. He does not like to go down easily. Patient runner with good vision, gains a lot of yards after contact, which I love to see in a running back. He has a great spin move, and he's surprisingly shifty for a guy his size. He's not exactly a burner. He probably runs between a 4.55 and a 4.6, but that's right around where Kareem Hunt ran the 40. He's also a good receiver out of the backfield, so that's bonus points, and he can block. So I see a guy with a 3-down skill set, and I think he just needs an opportunity to start somewhere.
Yeah, I really like Zach Moss. He's my RB4 right now. I honestly think if you took somebody who had never watched football before, didn't know who any of these people's names were, didn't know anything about which conferences were the toughest, and just sat them in a room and watched everybody's film, knowing nothing else, people would be really high on Zach Moss. He's awesome. I do have a little bit of a concern. The competition in the Pac-12 is not what we're seeing at the SEC for some of these guys. And my bigger concern is I don't know how well he's going to do at the combine, and I think it's going to knock down his draft capital at the end of the day. And all those things will kind of spiral together to knock him down to RB4, 5, 6 or so in the class. But yeah, on tape, he's fantastic. Great balance. Really just kind of glides around the field. Big Zach Moss fan here. I think we're all kind of in agreement on that one. I was pretty surprised when I watched him for the first time.
Well, I have never watched Zach Moss, so I'm not quite sure.
He's great.
I'll have to rely on your opinions. Now, Cam Akers, I know, is a hot topic. People are debating whether or not he was held back by the offense at Florida State or if it was him. I don't know how I feel. I'm sort of on the fence about Cam Akers. I know that he had practically 0 yards before he was first hit. He was getting contacted in the backfield. I don't know how capable anybody is of being successful at that time. Now, I know when he was a high school athlete, his spark scores were, phenomenal. Like a once in a lifetime type athlete. I think he had like over a 40-inch vertical, lots of power, lots of explosiveness. But I think it's really going to come down to how he tests at the combine. If he has a good combine, he could easily move up these charts. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think Cam Akers has one of the widest spreads of opinion on him. I've seen people say he's the RB1 in this class. I personally don't really get it. To me, the things that I keep hearing are, okay, he was amazing coming out of high school. He was so hyped up. He was a 5-star recruit. Like he said, a great athlete. And that Florida State offensive line and offense in general was terrible. And both of those things are true. But I still don't really get what he does that well. He's fast. He's a good athlete. But he dances behind the line at times. I thought he was really bad in pass protection, which is a pretty big concern in terms of just getting on the field. And I didn't find him to be that elusive or that powerful. To me, I don't really get it. But I think what the NFL thinks of him will be huge. Because I don't know if the NFL is going to say, this guy's a great athlete, he's a first-round pick. Or if he's more of, the Eagles fans are not going to like this, but more of a Kalen Ballage, who was another great athlete, but just wasn't that good of a running back. At some point, you have to still be able to play the position and not just be a great athletic combine tester.
Well, I'm not sure if you know who the other running back to post over 40-inch vertical was.
Nick Joe?
I do not.
Christine Michael.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah. So we're going to see what happens with Cam Akers. Is he a Christine Michael? Everybody's favorite sleeper to hold on to until he just went to sleep? Or is he going to show up and really actually make something of himself in the NFL? So that's the end of our tier 2. Now, hitting some of these lower ranked gentlemen, our tier 3 starts with Keyshawn Vaughn. Now, I know this is somebody we had talked about earlier in our Devy debrief, Ryan. Why don't you give the riders a quick update?
Keyshawn Vaughn, he's kind of a forgotten player in this class. He's big, 5'10", about 220. He has good burst, speed, vision. He can catch the ball well. He's just an all-around good player, and he's very productive in the SEC. He's a physical runner. He constantly keeps his legs moving. He grinds out those tough yards between the tackles. A lot like Zach Moss, a lot of his yards come after contact, and more than one defender is often needed to bring him down. He's shifty enough, too, to make players miss in the open field, and ball security is a strength of his, too. So, yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn, very underrated player, I think. He'll probably be drafted in the later rounds, but he definitely has an opportunity to surprise a lot of people.
All right, Eric, anything on Eno Benjamin?
Yeah, I actually really like Eno Benjamin. I think there's a significant drop from the tier we were just on to this tier. But of this tier, I think Eno Benjamin's my favorite guy. He was used a lot as a receiver, which I like. It's a good start. He's a willing pass blocker, not necessarily a great one, but he was willing. That's a good start. He had good hands. He can actually run the routes. It's not just it's not just the hands. He's a good route runner as well. He runs hard. He has a really wide variety of moves that he'll use. Jukes, spins, hurdles. He doesn't break a ton of tackles, but I like the variety of moves. And he reminds me a little bit of another guy who I loved 2 years ago, Kerryon Johnson, who I still believe in. So I want to watch some more of Benjamin to see if that comparison kind of holds up as I watch some more games of his. But yeah, he's my current RB7.
Very good. Now, Ryan, somebody you and I talked about probably about a year ago, maybe a little bit less than a year ago, came in at number 9, Michael Warren II from Cincinnati. Why don't you remind the riders what you said?
Yeah, I'm a big Michael Warren II fan. I think he's kind of a deep sleeper in this class. We might be a little crazy having him in the top 10, but I think his name definitely needs to be out there. His nickname is the Truck, and you don't get a nickname like that for nothing. He's former Mr. Football in Ohio and a fellow Toledoan, which in no way influenced this ranking. Just want to get that out there. He has great size, 5'11", 222 pounds. You watch his film, he passes the eye test, and he has the production to back it up. He was the top offensive weapon for a very good Cincinnati team. Nearly 3,000 yards from scrimmage combined the last 2 years. He's only lost 1 fumble in his college career, too. He runs with a lot of power, has good quickness, has a lot of different moves he uses to evade tackles, and some ability as a receiver, too. I think he came out a year too early, but he received an invite to the Combine, and we'll get to learn a lot more about him there. So for right now, he's a sleeper, but I think he's going to be one of those players that catches on as the process goes.
All right, now rounding out our top 10. I don't agree with this pick personally, but Lemkel Perrine. Wait, is this guy related to Samwise?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I hope not. I mean,
yeah, that was something
he was a nice guy and all, but he was not much for an NFL running back.
Hey, now.
Yeah, I don't know.
He is related to it.
I actually like LaMichael Perrine. He's kind of a dark horse in this class. A little bit of a theme in this last tier here. He's not exactly the most productive running back in the nation, as he only had 938 yards from scrimmage in 2019. And if I'm being honest, he got pushed up the rankings by default with guys like Najee Harris, Chuba Hubbard, and Travis Etienne going back to school. But he is a serviceable NFL caliber back. I think he can be a solid backup. He can come in and, he can start in spot duty. I think he can be a good change of pace back. He has good size, receiving ability. He's more explosive than you'd expect out of a Perrine too. He ran an 88-yard touchdown against Auburn in 2019, and it was a pretty impressive play. If you have an opportunity to check it out, I encourage you to. He runs hard, breaks a lot of tackles. He had 40 receptions his senior year, and it's also worth noting that he had a very nice performance in the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, he is also the cousin of Samwise Perrine and the cousin of Miles Jack.
It's pretty interesting.
According to Wikipedia. Now, of course, my number 10, which I can't believe nobody else ranked him in the top 10, is A.J. Dillon. I love A.J. Dillon. You want to talk about somebody nicknamed Truck. How about a guy who actually weighs as much of a truck? Right? No, you guys don't like AJ?
No, I like that. I like that call. I think he's our biggest oversight here in the top 10. You're right. Maybe not the modern NFL fit, but great production. Hard to argue with that.
I mean, 6 foot, 250.
Little Brandon Jacobson.
I mean, he runs practically as fast as Keyshawn Vaughn.
Hard to argue with that.
What, Keyshawn Vaughn's projected for a 4.57. He's at a 4.59.
Yeah.
He's not that much slower than Lamical or any of these other knuckleheads. And you can't argue with his production.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to be the linebacker facing a big AJ Dillon breaking free.
Yeah, I agree. It would be interesting to see, too, if he goes a little earlier in the draft, just after the run that Derrick Henry had. I could see teams and thinking, oh, let's try and replicate that. Let's just find the hugest dude we can put at running back and just beat teams up in the fourth quarter. I don't know that that's a great idea, but somebody might try.
Yeah, it's probably not. Somebody will probably try to pigeonhole him as a fullback or something silly like that. You know what? I'm not going to curse on the pod, Eric. And I don't want to swear at you on a nice, loving day coming tomorrow. So, I don't know. Anybody else have anything to say now that it ended on that horrible note? Do you guys have any other guys who you think should be up here?
No, everyone in my top 10 is in this top 10. So I feel pretty good about the list.
Yeah, I feel pretty good as well, and I need to dig into some of the deeper guys, but the one thing I will add is that so much of this is subject to so much change. The combine is going to be a huge input for a lot of these guys, and the draft will be even bigger than that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Eric, too, is, that top 3 could easily change if one of them ends up on Kansas City.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? J.K. Dobbins on the Chiefs is suddenly a number 1 overall rookie pick.
I mean, if Cam Akers goes in the second round and Zach Moss goes in the fourth round, I don't get why Cam Akers is better than Zach Moss, but I'll still take Cam Akers over Zach Moss in that situation. So I love doing this. I love going through and watching these guys and talking about their strengths and weaknesses and all that. But at the end of the day, if you don't know what to do when you're on the clock, just take whoever was taken first in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
I think that's
actually pretty much undefeated.
Sound advice.
Well, we are at the end of our pod, so I would just like to say, remember, give us a like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at RoD or Dynasty. Thank you for joining us. We will be back next week with our wide receiver rankings. Eric, do you want to say goodbye?
See you next week.
Ryan?
Catch you in the next one.
Boat drinks, my friends. Boat drinks.
We ride together. We die together. Bad boys for life.